Tonight, the death toll in Texas stands at least 120 after catastrophic historic flooding over the weekend. Now, this is efforts to locate dozens who remain missing. More than 300 volunteer first responders are on the scene helping to search. And new tonight, a survivor is sharing his story of escaping an RV amid what he described as ocean-like flash flood waters.
We were waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning by the owner of the RV park here. She was pounding on the door frantically. So we came out of the RV, and when I walked out on the back ledge there, I could see one RV was floating in the water, and the water was just coming up to the back of my RV. And so we rushed around to get everything together and analyze what was going on. And the owner kept telling us, we have to leave now, we have to leave now.
Across Texas, flags were lowered to half-staff today to honor the many lives lost. A statewide order to lower the flags will last until July 14th. If you want to help, our parent company, Fox, is coordinating with the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. You can scan the QR code on your screen, and we also have a link at fox9.com. Flooding in Texas has raised concerns about flood dangers nationwide.
In fact, in Minnesota, the DNR says that we are 2.5 times more likely to have widespread rainfall now as compared to before the year 2000. Our Leon Purvis spoke to the DNR, and Leon, there's been about 16 of these mega fall rainfall events that we've had since what, about 1973? Is that it?
Tim, Kelsey, that's correct. Now, there hasn't been one in the Twin Cities to date, but a mega rainfall event can be catastrophic, as we've seen with what happened in Texas a few days ago. The last one that occurred here in Minnesota was in 2020 near Mankato, which is what you see on your screen. So what is a mega rainfall event? It's when at least 6 inches of rain covers more than 1,000 square miles within 24 hours, with at least one location receiving more than 8 inches. To give you an idea, that's roughly the size of Hennepin and Scott counties combined. The Minnesota DNR says it's something they're always monitoring.
It's hard to predict exactly where the next one will be. All we know is they do happen. They're fairly rare at any point on the landscape, but looking at an area the size of Minnesota, which is a pretty big area, you know, we've sometimes had 2 in 1 year. Duluth has been hit by them. Northwest Minnesota's been hit, and Rochester's been hit by them.
Minnesota has had 16 of these mega rains since 1973, but 11 of those have occurred since the year 2000. One of these was also responsible for setting the state 24-hour rainfall record, with more than 15 inches of rain falling on August 19th, 2007 in Houston County. That's in southeastern Minnesota. So why the increase in these big rainfall events in the past 25 years? DNR climatologist Peter Boulay explains.
Because of climate change, we're seeing more rainfall in general, more precipitation. Our rainfall amounts, as you look every 10 years, we recalculate normal for the Twin Cities, has been going up. So we're seeing an increased frequency of more rain overall.
The Department of Natural Resources tracks all of this with more than 200 gauges throughout the state, measuring rainfall as well as river and stream levels. All of these gauges have been around since 1973, which is why they use that as a starting point for this statewide study. Live in studio, Leon Purvis, Fox 9.
All right, Leon, yeah, our climate is changing.
And we want to bring in Cody now to talk a little bit about, you know, what they're tracking here in Minnesota and how they're trying to troubleshoot for these events.
Well, yes, and it's troubleshooting the events and trying to get people to kind of take action when they need to. And there is a false alarm rate. We're very aware of that. The National Weather Service is very aware of that. False alarm basically means a flash flood warning is issued and it doesn't impact most folks. And so most folks look at that and go, okay, do I need to do anything? Well, you know, the night or the day goes by and they're like, well, nothing happened in my neighborhood. That's an apparent false alarm, even if someone else dealt with it. And so there's this constant effort to try to make sure that doesn't happen and weigh all the principles, and it's a very difficult concept. It's very difficult to pinpoint because of terrain exactly who's going to end up with how much rain and how much water, and so it's
and
just
then how do you warn them,
right,
so that they pay attention,
and then how they get those warnings and cell service and where are they getting them, and so it is a laundry list of issues that are constantly weighed back and forth when these warnings are issued. I will say kind of a scope of things. So Leon, thanks to Leon in the State Climatology Office for the update on just how impactful this can be. So you think of the area of Hennepin, Ramsey, or Hennepin and Scott County.
Yep.
So a relatively small area.
Yeah.
On these mega rain events in Minnesota. So to kind of give you a purview of what happened in central Texas and how big and widespread this was. So they talked about 6+ inches in essentially Hennepin and Scott County. Well, what happened in Texas, an area the size of central and southern Minnesota, all of it, all areas south of 94 getting 6 or more inches of rain,
Wow.
with some areas over 20 inside 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the scope they were dealing with, and you just, there are so many ways you can't prepare for that.
Yeah.
And it's a really sad scenario, and hope it never happens again. But flash flooding's happened before, it's going to happen again, and so we try to keep you updated, and that's why we always tell you, yes, we get tornado warnings. You want to take those seriously, but when you get a severe thunderstorm warning or a flash flood warning, know your outs, know what you need to do. If you're in a low-lying spot, you're more susceptible to flash flooding, and so you need to take those even more seriously, say, than the average person. So just keep that in mind. Meanwhile, beautiful look. We're at least nice and quiet. We've